Right, today we're talking about the Ford 1V carbs. Lots of people call them the Ford 4s because 1V looks like the Roman numeral for 4, but they're 1V because 1V stands for one Venturi. So that's why they're called. These were used on cars right from the 60s right up to the 90s, all different types. There was two different types predominantly. There was loads of different ones, but the two main differences were up until 1976 you had this type, and then 1976 on you had that type. Now the way you tell the difference between the two is quite simple. Look at those two there. What's different? Well, basically, see that nut there? That ain't on there. So from 1976 on, they put an extra nut there to hold the carb top on. Pre-76 wasn't there. They changed the shape slightly of the gasket as well. I think there's 3 different gasket types, but that's the main difference, is the number of bolts that hold the top cap on. Post 76, pre 76. And another thing that causes loads of grief is the number. The number is always stamped on the side. Only worry about the number at the top here. The number at the top refers to the year it was made, and then if you read the rest of the code you can find out what car it was originally fitted to, one what car. Fiesta. This one here, from memory, is fitted to the 1.6 Escort and Orion, but essentially same carbs. Right, so today it's going to be a little bit of a how to rebuild them, really, because there's a couple of differences. So what we're going to do, we're going to look at this particular one, the early one, the pre-76 one, and I'm going to guide you through this. A lot of stuff that is on this is going to be on this one as well, but we'll have a look at any differences along the way. So the first thing we're going to do is whip the bolts off and get the top off. Now this particular carb is missing the rod that goes between the choke arm and the part that operates the flap. Now if you look at this carb, it's there, so that when you move that, notice how it moves the choke flap. This particular carb, the other carb, hasn't got it, so straight away that's an issue. But I mean, the idea is just to give you basic understanding of how the carbs work and what to look for if you're stripping one down. Alright, so I'm going to take this top off. Let's have a look what it looks like with the top off. All the screws are out. Now normally you'd have to disconnect this rod, but obviously I haven't got that rod to worry about. So lift this off carefully. Don't tip it upside down. I'll show you why in a minute. This bit here, look, on this particular carb, that bit there is called a power valve, and that is activated by this spring. You've got to be careful with that, because there's bits that can happen to this power valve which cause the bloody thing to run rough. That there is the main jet. Pretty much, it's so simple. That's the main jet, that's the power valve, and we have to make sure that power valve is in good condition. There's certain things that can go wrong with it. There's your float, all fairly sort of straightforward. There's your needle valve in there, look, operated by the float. We're going to take the lot out, clean the whole thing right up. But the thing that's amazing, look at this carburetor, look at the float bowl. It's absolutely immaculate. So this car, whatever it came off, was probably in quite good condition, because the inside of the carburetor is immaculate. So looking at the float bowl itself, look at how, look, that is immaculate, look, immaculate. No grunge or fuel that's all sulfured up. Now, do not turn this carburetor over until you recognise that in there is a weight and a ball. and when you turn it upside down they will fall out. They should do. So you have to catch them. That weight in the ball is part of the accelerator pump. So we'll turn it upside down and we'll get the weight and the ball. Do not lose them, whatever you do. The accelerator pump will not work if you lose them and they're not in position. So look at that. Such a simple carb, isn't it? So simple. It's a beautiful carb, but it's quite complicated the way it works. When you read up how it works, a lot of these little sections here are designed to speed the air up, and the air in the pilot system on these carbs ends up travelling at extremely high speeds, and it's called a sonic. I called it a sonic sound. I can't remember now what it means, but that suggests that probably the speed that the air is travelling at is unbelievably quick. Right, so the next thing to look at on this carb, let's take this off. This is the accelerator pump. Undo those 4 bolts. Let's have a look. So we take these bolts off, boff, boff, and then you lift this off, disconnect it from the rod. So let's just give it a little tap. There you go. Then you just lift it off the rod there like that. That rod comes down there, and then basically you can see this is a fairly simple thing. That section there pivots on that roll pin and activates against the diaphragm. This is the accelerator pump diaphragm. Diaphragm is trapped there, look. This particular one is seized on there, probably been there for about 800 years. So, and obviously we're going to replace the diaphragm. I don't think this is okay to go again, because it's probably been there for so long. Noah was probably a boy when this was put in position. Underneath spring, notice which way up the spring goes. That goes in there. Look how that clean that is. That's nice and clean, isn't it? Notice there's a little ball in there. Can you see that little ball rolling up and down? You're going to make sure you don't lose that. Shouldn't do, because that's captive at that end there, look. So that shows you that. Now this here is the pilot air screw. So all carbs got pilot air screws. So this one's probably seized, so let's have a look. If it's seized, it'll have to be heated up. Oh, that's seized. So we're going to have to heat that up or give it some fluence before it can come off. I'm going to take this thing there, this rod. That's the accelerator pump activation rod, and you could probably get the spring off if you wanted, because I'm going to probably get the spring off if I can, because I want to clean it all up, and I'm probably going to plate all of these bits, because we're doing a full restoration on this, and it's going to look good, isn't it? It's all plated and looks the bollocks then. That's it. Ka-ching. Right, so that's that. That's got to be heated up, obviously, that pilot screw, because I want to make sure that that is comes off okay. We're going to undo that screw now and remove this choke arm. Now here there should be a part for the choke cable to go into. If you look on this carburetor, you'll see what I mean. Notice there, look, that is part of that arm, so that the choke cable can go into that, and that's how it activates. This one has broken off, so I don't really think I'm going to be able to do anything with it, but might have to see if I can get a replacement one of those, as if, but I'm going to take that off now. Right, big screwdriver, take it off. Undo that screw, take that lever off with the spring, keep it all in one place, because I'm going to plate everything up, and that gives you a look at that. You can see that that's fairly straightforward, nothing too dramatic about that. Now we've got the throttle stop screw. I wonder if that'll undo. Yep, that undoes quite nicely. So we'll just whistle that off. Put that over there to one side. So in this bottom half, apart from the pilot's air screw, the next thing I want to take off, the throttle mechanism, the plate, the arm, everything. So what I'm going to do here is remove that nut there, that bolt, that screw, take that off there, undo these two small nuts here, and then that should allow us to remove the plate, the butterfly, and then we should then be able to pull that completely out. Then this bottom half is completely disassembled, then that can be looked at from a restoration point of view. So let's whip that off, take that off, pull that out. Two bolts out. There's the throttle valve out, and now we can pull the throttle shaft, spring and everything nice and gently out of there. Now is when we go into the cleaning phase. I've already started there, look, done a little bit of adrenaline. I know, couldn't resist, absolutely couldn't resist. So I'm going to dump that into a cleaner, and then let's have a look. So before we do the float chamber end, pull the pin, lift the float chamber up, conventional brass float, all soldered up. You've got to make sure that there's no fuel or any liquid inside it, to make sure that it's in good condition. Then that allows you to tip out the needle valve, inspect the needle valve, to find out, if you look, this one's got a shiny edge, so obviously you'll be replacing that. Take the seat out, take the jet out. We might want to pull the choke flap out, undo those two bolts there, pull the flap out, and then we can pull this shaft out, and then that will finish disassembly. Take the bolts off, pull the flap out, check the flap to make sure there's nothing untoward about it, and then you can pull the shaft nice and gently. There you go then, the Ford 1V Motorcraft Fomoco Ultralight, call it what you want. This is the pre-1976 series, because of the fact that there's only 6 bolts holding the top onto the top of the float chamber. The later series has 7 bolts, as I said to you in the beginning. This is one of these stripped down. So now everything's going to go away and be fully cleaned, and then we're going to get a gasket set and all the other bits and pieces, and then carry out a full restoration, so that when it's finished it will look like it did the day it was first bolted to the manifold of the car that it went on.